Same time next week, right?
Let's talk about it before we do it.
Well, we're not done the show yet, so we'll wait till we're done the show to talk about it.
Sorry. I apologize.
Code Mayo.
Teasers.
We already did the teasers. I just have to get out of here.
Teasers are good.
I just have to go home.
We did the teaser. You're in for your teaser.
Jesus. Do you remember who you took?
I think I took. No, I don't remember.
The Raiders.
Raiders. Yeah. Yar.
Entering the Mayo experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience presented by Underdog. It's a ho, Merry Christmas edition of the Week 17 Best Bets, Gold, Silver, Bronze. Coming off a pretty good week as well. So you smashed the like to this episode, sub to Mayo Media Network, go over to the audio podcast, sub to both over there, leave a nice rating and review as a Christmas gift to me, and use code Mayo at Underdog right now. You'll get a Patrick Mahomes Christmas Day free pick, and you'll get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 so you can play the pick'em game for NFL, college basketball, the bowl games, whatever it might be. But I am very highly invested now in the PGA Best Ball, which starts on the 2nd of January. It's only 30% full. It's $50,000 to first place, and it's $10 to play. So if you're not in on Underdog as of yet, go use code Mayo right now. Get all of your drafts out of the way because it's going to be fun. We have content up on the network right now for that as well. Rob Pizzola, new house, Cam Stewart on the line still. Probably mad that Seattle did not only did they not win, they pushed the spread for you.
I got to tell you, Pat, that game broke my heart. Even though I got 3.5, I'm going to tell you guys in Pizzola, you got two guys with Justin Jefferson there. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know what? Can't you cover this guy? I know he's the best receiver going, but I'm going to tell you, Rob, we bet. And I usually don't go, I don't give a fuck about this. And I don't give a, like, that game broke my heart. Even though I won, I had 3.5 because we didn't do the show earlier. I'm going to tell you, I wanted Seattle to win that game hard.
It was one of the most entertaining games of the year, that game. Like, it was just such a good football game to watch. I wish more were like that because so many of these games have become like what Monday Night Football was with Packers and Saints. Just basically unwatchable. But that game was amazing. It could have went either way, Seahawks and Vikings. Vikings just seem to have a way to pull these games out lately. A lot of close games, they end up winning them. So
Rob,
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, for the purposes of this show, I had Minnesota, you had Seattle, both at 3, so we double pushed on that one as a part of our mineral picks. But Rob, I gave you heat for betting on Carolina 2 weeks ago as favorites, but I think you should tell the people what you hit on Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night, huge SGP that we hit last night, which was Packers alternate spread. We had, I'm trying to even remember, Spencer Rattler, alternate rush yards, 25 plus, and we took
Rob.
Emmanuel Wilson, last touchdown of the Packers game as well, which ended up holding up. The sweating that out a long time because we've been burned by last touchdowns quite a bit, but that was a payout of over 100-1. I went on like a massive retweeting spree because a lot of people hit that for Christmas that follow my shows on Forward Progress. So
how about
nice.
Saints total under 6.5? These guys
under half.
Yeah.
The under half cashed.
It was
we're doing the show live, Pizzola. I'm like, they're not getting a touchdown in this game. There's no way. Even if they drive it down the field, I'm like, these guys suck. They're done. Know what the good news is, Pizzola? For all of my flaws, hey Pat, I'm one game behind you, buddy.
Yeah, this is
the Asian spread.
This is the hinge. This is the hinge week because the Saints actually have a winnable game this week.
They're gonna fuck it up. Don't worry about it.
Probably. Although, like, wait, okay,
Probably.
so I lose because I lose to Spencer Rattler with Washington 2 weeks ago. Where was that Spencer Rattler from the second half against Washington? Where was that guy last night?
Sometimes guys come into games like mid-game and they look amazing, and then they go back to their true form when the opposing team has had a full week to watch tape on them. Rattler played, I think, week 5, 6, and 7 this year, and he actually had real receivers. Olave was playing. I think Shaheed was still in the lineup at that time. Kamara wasn't hurt, and he still sucked. with those guys. Now, their best receiver was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and he didn't play yesterday. Like, Kevin Austin was their number one receiver on Monday Night Football. Complete disaster of a team and a disaster of a quarterback. I like, within, honestly, 5 minutes of that game, I regretted not having Packers, but such is life. That was one I'd like to have back, but at least the SGP's more than made up for it.
Cam, I was telling Rob before the show, was the Monday Night Football game the most predictable game of the season?
Let's just say this, Pat. I'm going to tell you a story. You guys know me too. I'll bet every underdog that lives. And when I like the favorite, I'm tuned, bro.
Yeah.
I am. I did this game tonight. I'm like, the Packers are going to crush these guys. And a lot of things, hey, Pizzola, even with the teasers, like, oh, we're going to get it to the over. No. Because the thing about the Saints is they're horrible. And I'm going to tell you another story, Pat. Know what I got? Carolina versus you, Asian handicap. Ding dong. Love it.
I need Carolina to lose in such a big way this week for all of my Tampa Bay
Can you
futures.
believe they beat those guys outright, the Cardinals?
No, I mean, yeah, I can believe it. I watched the game in Arizona. Every time Arizona decided to run, they ran for 25 yards, and they were like, "Nah, let's try to pass."
Yeah, honestly,
stupid.
James Conner getting hurt too was pretty. They have no more running backs. Trey Benson was injured going into the game. Who was the other one that they had there?
DeMarcado.
Yeah,
they were using DJ Dallas by the end of the game. It wasn't a good scene.
DJ Dallas looks like a tight
Dallas.
end.
Yes.
Have you seen DJ Dallas recently? That guy, look, he could probably play O-line. Never mind running back.
You're right, Rob. He's a monster. When he played for the Seahawks, I'm like, this guy put on like 100 pounds, like steroids. Like, what's up with DJ Dallas? He ain't the same guy.
It looks like he hit the Christmas buffet a little bit too early, a week too early, if you ask me.
Well, let's get to what happened last week for us. Rob, you were the only, actually, Cam, you were the only gold winner with Washington staging the comeback, covering the 3.5. Rob and I both took an L on our gold picks. Tampa lost for me, and the Jets was Rob's gold pick, lost. And obviously, Cam, that was your bronze pick, it lost. Your silver pick was a push with Seattle. I pushed my bronze with Minnesota. I won with Vegas, and Rob, you won both your silver and your bronze last week, so a winning week overall. And the teaser won, which means we get back to even once again for the season at 6-6 on the teaser leg. So hopefully we can climb out of that hole a little bit. I guess if we're even money on the 6.3 team teasers for the year, that means we're up a little bit of money, aren't we, Rob?
Yes, we are up. We're slightly positive, which you'll take at any point, honestly. It's hard to win at betting. It doesn't matter how much you win by. Just being up a little bit matters. So, yeah, we're slightly positive this year on the teasers now because of we're taking 3 teams.
Reminder to all of you good people out there, I'm giving away a free entry into the gigantic $1 million one and done on Christmas Day, but it's okay if you're watching this after because I'm doing another giveaway on New Year's Day for a free entry. All you got to do, you can hit the description and find the link, fantasygolfchampionships.com. It's $250 per entry. You can have up to 5, but it's for the entire year, so it's like $7 a week or something like that. And if you screenshot me your entry into the race for the Mayo Cup, that makes you eligible for the draw for another free entry. But you got to have that first entry first. It's already 35% full, so it is coming very, very quickly. Gold picks. Rob, would you like to lead off, or would you like to let me lead off? Or Cam?
I think I know where you're going because I watched the show. So it's okay. There's a little bit of overlap, but I'll lead off. I don't think we're going to be overlapped here. Fool me once, as George Bush famously said, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again. I don't know if you guys remember
Rob,
that.
I'm drunk.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going back to the Jets, by the way. I'm taking the Jets as a gold plus 10 at Buffalo. And I'm just applying some logic here, okay? So I like thinking about this probabilistically. So we have a Christmas Day game with Kansas City and Pittsburgh. Kansas City is a 3-point favorite in that game. If Kansas City wins that game, the Buffalo Bills are basically locked into the 2 spot because the Steelers, who are 3, will have lost, and Buffalo is just there. I have been reading Sean McDermott's quotes this week. He has been playing very coy as to what they're going to do, but he keeps saying they're going to take it day by day and see where they stand going into the weekend. And I think there is a legitimate likelihood that Kansas City wins, considering they're favorite. And Buffalo just takes Josh Allen dealing with an injury on his throwing hand coming into the game, had a couple ducks last week. Take it easy, get healthy for playoffs. I'm not betting this because I think the Jets are like this superior team in any way. I just think that the 10 points will be extremely valuable if the Chiefs win. And if they don't win, I think that I'm still coin flipping with the Jets anyways. And it is a game where they could possibly keep it close. Defense played a lot better last week. Offense honestly played fine. I know they only scored 9 points, but that's because they went for all these fourth downs in the game and they friggin' couldn't convert one on the opposite side of the field. So
they also dropped a couple punts and stuff. The Jets are a train wreck.
They are.
Like, they suck.
I'm with you.
Don't underestimate the Jets' inability to lose to Mitch Trubisky by more than 10 points. But I mean, you mentioned the Kansas City thing, but if Baltimore wins, they do still have something to play for because they could still fall back into a tie with Baltimore, and Baltimore has the tiebreak, and then they would have to stay ahead of them.
Yes, it's more so the mentality of especially when you need a team to win by blowout, right? So Buffalo's going to have to win this game by double digits in order to cover the spread. You potentially get into late game scenarios as well where you're up, you take it a little bit easier. You're not playing to win by margin necessarily. You're taking a more safe route in the game. I just think that it's a decent probabilistic play. We're recording this a lot earlier than we typically do, obviously, for the holidays. I don't have the luxury of the fuller picture of injury reports and stuff like that. So I'm going to take my shot again with the Jets. This is a guaranteed loser because the gold pick for me loses every single week. But I do think logically it is a good play.
I don't mind it. I believe I took the Jets as well on the spread show. Cuss guaranteed a win in what is now, he said they had back-to-back Super Bowls between the Rams and the Bills game, but now he's added on another Super Bowl next week when they play the Dolphins, if the Dolphins are still technically in it by some shred of imagination. But I am going to change up. I'll save my super lock for, probably my silver pick or even my bronze pick right now because I've started to think about this a little bit more. And I'm actually going to take a Saturday game, Cam. I am taking Jeff's Los Angeles Chargers in New England because these are the teams that the Chargers blow out all year long. The bad teams. That's who the Chargers beat up.
I love it, Pat.
Oh, 4. I'll take 4. Minus 4. Even better.
Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to use the same pick as you, but I love the Chargers this week too. Everyone's like, oh, no. The thing about the Chargers is you guys saw what they did at the last fucking half of that game. They were amazing. And I love the Chargers. And Geoff, he's my guy. Even though Rob, he hasn't invited me to golf yet, but that's on me. I don't have enough free time. But I'm going to give you this, Pat. Can I give you my gold pick?
Go for it.
Man, I didn't realize what happened tonight. Okay. Commanders, 4.5 over the Falcons. I think the Falcons are frauds. I don't care about Penix. I don't care about anything. The Commanders were great to me last week, and I'm going to take the same thing. Rob, do you like the pick, or are you going to scoff at it?
I'll tell you this, Cam.
I love Atlanta.
It's a Christmas miracle. You got a 4 instead of a 4.5. You don't even have to buy the half point. We got 4s on the board right now for the Washington Commanders, and you didn't even have to beg for the half point this time around.
I always, ain't too proud to beg, but I will beg for another game. But thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. You're a good man.
You guys are on opposites of this because I did watch the Monday show, and I know that's where Pat was going with this. But
what do you think, Rob?
I told myself this before last week's games. I told myself I will not bet Atlanta following the Giants because Penix is going to look great because the Giants are not a real football team. And then I'm not going to know what to do with them. And I don't know what to do, not only with Atlanta, but with Washington. I have zero idea how to evaluate or rate either of these teams right now. So for me, it is a complete pass, and nothing will surprise me in this game. Atlanta could win outright. The Commanders could win by 21. I will not be shocked by anything that happens in this game.
So the way that I started thinking about it, it's less of a play on Atlanta, who obviously I don't like. I hope Atlanta loses this game. This is what I'm going for here when I need to cash some Tampa Bay tickets. But I just don't trust Washington. Like, they've just been hanging on by the skin of their teeth in a lot of these games. If they could barely get by New Orleans, what are they going to do against Atlanta? Like, I just think that Washington wins by 2 or 3. Like, they'll find some weird way to keep this game close. Penix was all right against the Giants. He didn't even play that. I saw the PFF grading, Rob, for the week, and Penix was like number 5 or something like that. He didn't really do anything in the game. He didn't have to.
Yeah, like open guys. He made the throws that he had to make. The Giants are just an abortion of a team, basically, at this point. They're not even a real football team. They're bad. Like they haven't been. Yeah, I went.
They reek, Pat. Here's the deal with the Commanders is, I don't know what's going to happen in this game. All I know is this: the other team. I'm like, you know what, Commanders. It was a nice game against Philadelphia, don't you think? 5 turnovers and they won.
Yes,
they won.
That's true, but they won against Kenny Pickett.
Did they though?
They did.
They did.
They were getting toasted when Hurts was in there, and then Pickett came in and he's like Kenny. It's tough. Like I'm not shitting on the pick personally. I'm just not. I don't think I'll bet the game.
It's a horrible pick. I hate it, but I'm gonna bet it.
Are you gonna opt out of it? I mean, you made 6 gold picks last week. You have time here. We're not on to silver yet.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Pat. Like, I've drank so much tonight. I don't even know what I'm doing. Let's just see what I got here. No, I'm fine. I think the Seahawks should have beat the Vikings outright, but hey, that's life.
We've established that one a few times already.
Well, have we?
We have. We did talk about it ever so briefly, but I'll go to silver, and I will use Atlanta +4 as my silver pick. As I just said, it's a play against Washington's inability to blow out this level of team. Now, you give them the Titans, you give them the Browns, they're going to make a mockery of those guys with their high-powered offense. I think this goes back and forth, and Washington, Rob, can't stop anyone.
I know the defense is disappointing. Lattimore pulled a hamstring again this week. Probably not going to end up playing their big trade deadline acquisition. I get all the reasons to take Atlanta. I do. I'm not comfortable in Washington to win by margin sometimes, but I don't know what Penix is, and he might just morph into a rookie quarterback next week when we can not compare the Giants defense with Washington's. At least Washington has players on the field. The Giants have so many players on IR that were healthy with their starting defense at the beginning of the year. It's not a semblance of a real defense at this point. So a little bit more challenging. I get all the reasons too, though. I got pretty excited watching Penix make some throws last week. Looked good, looked poised in the pocket, but you have to remember that quality of competition was just not real.
I guess
bad football team.
I guess I would push back on that. I don't think they need Penix to do any more than he did last week. I think they can just turn around and hand the ball to Bijan and run down Washington's throat.
That's true. But remember last week with the Commanders have a bad run defense. It's one of the worst in the league, EPA and success rate wise. But as soon as they realized last week that Pickett couldn't throw the ball, they stacked the box and they were able to shut down the run for the Eagles
they did
at that
a good
point.
Job.
So they might do the same here with Atlanta. It might be a game where they stack the box and they force Penix to beat them.
And if that's the case, are you really asking Penix to beat you in a way that's super difficult for him? Like you said, he was hitting his open guys. It's not like Washington has, they have St. Just as their number 1 corner if Latimer's out. That means Drake London's just going...
No St. Just disrespect on my watch.
Guy is
one of my favorite names in football.
So horrible. Drake London's just going to be wide open the entire time. Like, can you pitch and catch a ball? Then sure, let's go.
It's true, but Kyle Pitts might be wide open too, and then the ball goes off his hands right into the defender's hands. So
that guy's never getting a target again.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
Worst draft pick ever in my fantasy league. I'm done with that guy.
Fantasy league, real life. Imagine actually drafting him in the top 5.
Hey, Pizzola, I would have won $2,000. I'd Hurts as my quarterback. Thanks for nothing.
Well,
can you believe that? Concussed in the first quarter.
I will say this: at least he tried to get himself back in the game to win. But the trainer stopped him. They're like, nah. He tried to put his helmet back on and go in, and they said, nah, you can't do that, Jalen.
Yeah, they probably
look. Pat.
What is
fantasy football?
Yeah,
sucks. It's for losers. Like, I'm done with this shit. I just want to bet on football. I'm so done with fantasies. Ooh, we're starting this guy. I'm gonna tell you, Pizzola. You know how much that broke my heart? Like, all this guy had to do is get like 2 more points and I win. Now what I'm doing? Nothing. So fuck it.
You'll be back next year.
Maybe, Pat. Maybe. So, okay. Are we on silver?
We are.
San Francisco. Tell me, I see Pizzola. I see your head, and I see it's white, and I see it's receding. And I'm going to tell you, you love it, don't you?
Well,
here's the deal, Pat. Oh, they did their big thing against the Bears. I got to tell you, San Francisco sucks, but I'm going to tell you, this game is the trap of the week. Give me the Niners.
Okay, so I think initially looking at the spread, I can see why everyone feels that way. And maybe I'm just in like a little bubble, Rob, where people are talking about these games and these spreads. Everyone seems to love the Niners. I like Detroit. Like Detroit to stomp the Niners.
I'm holding the worst possible ticket on the planet on the 49ers in this game. I bet 49ers look ahead line at +3 because I thought they were going to beat Miami. And I loved this matchup for the Niners because Detroit has not faced anyone that can move the ball recently. Like, their defense is a disaster, and no one realizes it yet. And I thought San Fran is going to be the team that finally exploits that. Purdy throwing over the middle. It's a way to beat Detroit. And then the entire O-line is a complete disaster for San Fran now. Like, the early injury report for them is a complete mess. Obviously, they've already been missing Trent Williams at left tackle. Their backup left tackle, Jalen Moore, got hurt. Their left guard, Aaron Banks, had a serious knee injury. He's out. It's too much of a mess for me now. I'm stuck, so I'm rooting with Cam this week because I placed that bet. But at this point, I'm off of it personally. Like, I'm not adding at San Fran 4 at this point.
It's tough because their offense doesn't work when Trent Williams isn't there. And if
that's true,
and this has to become a game now where they're going to have to, in order to cover the spread, they're going to have to score 30 points because Detroit's going to score 30 points. I don't know if they got it in them.
They have it in them, but I can't. I'm not putting my money down on it.
There's nothing the Niners enjoy more than getting to the 20-yard line and getting no points out of the drive.
Also, I will say this: Shanahan. He's a very smart head coach in terms of game planning scheme, but that guy is the biggest cuck in game. Like, stop kicking field goals from the 1-yard line, dude. Stop punting on the opponent 40 on like 4th and 2. Stop. He's still coaching like it's 15 years ago. And Dan Campbell doesn't do that stuff. And it's such a small thing, but it's an in-game coaching edge that I love with the Lions all the time because people are like, oh, they're too aggressive. Well, I mean, they really have the offense that they can be aggressive and San Fran should be doing the same thing. It really bothered me last week watching the 49ers. They got hosed on like a bunch of personal foul penalties in the game as well. It was a bullshit result all around, but Shanahan drives me fucking nuts, and he cannot, like, in this type of game where you got to match scores with Detroit, you can't punt on 4th and 1, dude. Like, you got, and that really scares me if I'm backing San Fran.
Sean McVay is another big offender of from the 2-yard line field goal. And you'd think that he'd go for it every time.
Same coaching tree. He also, though, hired an analytics guy in the offseason. I can't, this is pure speculation on my part. At the beginning of the year, McVay totally changed his tune. He was listening to someone that was calling down and saying, we got to go for it. And then one time they got stopped in a high leverage situation. And I think he morphed back into the old Cuck McVay at some point as well and started doing this. These guys just can't help themselves. They're like, it's old school football for them. I don't understand. Like, anyways, you're right, Pat. He has always been notorious for that. I mean, Monday Night Football, this guy, Rizzy for the Saints, it's 24-0 in the fourth quarter, dude. It's 4th and 4. You got to go for it. They punt the ball. Then he goes for it when they're down 27-0. And it's a 4-score game.
Rizzy, Rob? He's got a stuffed toilet. Get the plunger. He's like, oh, yeah, I had a bad bowel movement today. Is it my day? I love Rizzy. He's my guy. Hey, Pat, I love the Saints. Lose every week.
No, they don't lose every week. There's still a game up.
Yeah, but I got the Asian handicap.
Yeah, but I mean, if they don't lose this week, you might be in serious trouble.
They're playing the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a problem. Okay, next pick.
All right, Rob, you're silver.
All right. I was gonna do like considering this, but now that we've just talked about it, I'm actually gonna take the Raiders as my silver pick.
Oh, wow. This guy's unreal. Hey, Pat, are you listening to this guy?
I listen. I hear it. Are you? What's the line that you want to take? Because I'm seeing it kind of like either
Plus one and a half?
I got 1.5 Fanatics right now as but I can take 1.5 Rivers. I can take one. It doesn't matter. To me.
One and a half works.
All right. So this is just an anti-Saints play who are a complete disaster of a football team at this point. They just do not have a functional offense. It's not just getting shut out against Green Bay. They don't have receivers. They literally do not have receivers. Their running back, Alvin Kamara, is hurt. Kendry Miller did nothing. They were going to Jordan Mims in the third and fourth quarter of that game. They cannot move the ball on offense, and that's a huge problem. Lucas Patrick got hurt on the offensive line. The thing I know with the Raiders is at least their skill position players are there. They have Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker on the field, Brock Bowers. Aiden O'Connell's the better quarterback in this matchup. Yes, obviously losing Max Crosby for the year hurt the defense, but it's still playing as a functional defense at this point, not one that's getting moved on by bad teams like Jacksonville, for example. So I think the wrong team is favored in this game. And the Raiders already cost themselves the first overall pick last week with an unreal play by AOC, like dodging a bunch of traffic, throwing it up to Trey Tucker.
You believe these guys, Rob? Like, Davis is celebrating with these guys. Like, what do you do to your draft picks? Like what the fuck is going on here?
But it just goes to show, like, a lot of people build up these narratives in the NFL of like, well, this team is tanking, right? But the players are not tanking.
Exactly.
Like, these coaches who are playing, Antonio Pierce is coaching for a job next year. I don't think he's going to be back, but he's coaching for a job. Players are playing for contracts. Like, all of this stuff matters. And yes, obviously you would want, if you're a fan of the team, you'd want the higher draft pick. But these players are playing football. They've done this their whole life. It's not in their DNA to just go out there and throw a game, lose a game. So it's an ugly game. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to even want to bet this. They're just going to cross it off. But I think there's value in Las Vegas in this game.
Yeah, if you're going to tank in the NFL, like you said, the players aren't wired that way in order to throw a game or not give 100% effort. And the moment you don't give the 100% effort and are not fully aware, you're going to get hurt. And when your career is that short anyway, probably don't want to do that. Jacksonville and the Giants haven't figured out. Like, oh yeah, these guys might be healthy. Yeah, no, they're injured. They're not playing. We're gonna play the crappy guys.
They're out for another week or so. We want to get them back to full strength. That's how you tank. You don't even put the players out on the field, and that's at a higher level within the org. But I'm evaluating the players who are playing in this game, and the Saints don't have the offense. They just don't have it. It's not there. It's actually embarrassing to watch. So yeah, give me the Raiders. Famous last words. Give me the Raiders.
All right, we'll get to the bronze picks in a second, but Joe Idone has joined me to talk about the TGL, which starts on January 7th, and our best bet for the TGL in the team preview for the Bay Area Golf Club. The final team in the TGL, the fifth favorites on the board of the 6-team league, at 5-1 at CoolBet right now is the Bay Golf Club. And it's funny, this is the last team preview that we've done together, Joe, and we didn't speak beforehand about which teams we liked, but I think we both landed on this being our favorite team.
Yeah, this is my squad here. They've got the long hitters. Ludwig, Wyndham Clark, and Minwoo Lee are 3 of the 4 longest players in terms of driving distance in the entire league. They're all on the same team. Then you throw in Shane Lowry, who's a bit of like a match play savant and kind of a magician around the greens if they do miss a little bit. Where they lack in accuracy, I think that they can make up with getting a hot putter. I think this is the team to beat. And like you mentioned earlier, I think age is sort of a factor here. Now, Shane Lowry is the old guy on the team, but the other 3 should be very familiar growing up, playing a lot of golf on a simulator based on their age, based on where they were located geographically when they were growing up. They all should be comfortable in front of a screen and hitting balls into it. I think that they're young, they're hungry, they want to win, they want to play in these weekly events, and I think it's the team to beat.
And the first thing that we started talking about, we talked about what skills are you looking for the most in TGL? Driving distance and putting, and that's all this team has. I mean, Shane Lowry can't really putt, but like Shane Lowry is by far their worst player in this format. Like if we were playing at PGA National, I would take Shane Lowry over Min-Woo Lee. Although I believe Min-Woo Lee played really well at PGA National this year, not so much the year before. But like these are the guys that I'm looking at. Oh yeah, they're going to be 3 of the top 4 leaders in driving distance, and Aubert, Clark, and Min-Woo Lee can absolutely fill it up on the greens. And Rob Pizzola pointed this out to me when we were breaking down how to bet into unknown markets like the TGL. If they constantly have the same green over and over, even though they just might move the pin locations around, like eventually you're just going to get to a spot where you want to hit to. You don't care about being 5 feet away versus 20 feet away if you know the speed and the break every single time. I think that's a huge advantage for the good putters.
Huge advantage for the good putters. Like you mentioned, it's a good mix too, right? You have the guys like Clark and Lee who can just bomb it on those wide open holes. If you're able to stack your players strategically, Ludwig, of course, does it both, but there's certain holes, Pat, where you've got to be really accurate. They have these like floating island fairways, and Shane Lowry may be the most accurate driver in the entire TGL in terms of, fairways hit. So they have a good mix. They have a good mix in terms of youth, in terms of skill sets. I really like this team, and I'd make them my favorites.
So I'm going to make them my favorites too. So we're in, you and I both betting the Bay Golf Club 5-1 to win the TGL.
The Bay it is. I may just for pride, just because I don't know how this thing shakes out. And I love a good long shot, sprinkle a little bit on the links just to see if they could hang around. But the Bay is the team to beat.
Introducing the TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Picture this. 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime-forcing, playoff on-the-line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour, like Tiger and Rory and more, split into 6 teams. Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. To learn more, visit tglgolf.com and tune in to the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up. It's golf.
Do we take the Chargers here against the Patriots?
I did.
Yeah.
Huh. Was that your gold pick?
It was, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. What do you think about the Cardinals?
Are they going to be your bronze pick?
You know what, Pat? Fuck it. This one's for Geoff. This one's for the Candle Factory. Chargers. I don't care what the Patriots think against the Bills. The Chargers are going to fuck these assholes up. Give me the Chargers by 10 plus.
I mean, the Bills scratched half their defense half an hour before the game against the Patriots. And the Patriots went up early, and then Gerard Mayo did the old classic,
exactly.
Let's sit on this lead, maybe. like that was going to work.
That guy's the worst coach going.
He
sucks.
I have actually come to the conclusion that I think Mayo is the worst. Sorry, Pat, I know you share your last name with him.
Versus Mayo, even though we love Mayo, that's P Mayo. Like, what are we going to do? Who's the worst coach in the league, Pat? Mayo?
I don't know who the worst coach in the league is. It might be Antonio.
Actually, Rizzy's a clown.
No. Rizzy gets all the credit. Teams can't kick field goals against him anymore because he's so good at special teams.
Yeah. Chicago. Thomas Brown for Chicago is up there as well. Like Chicago, they thought firing Eberflus was going to get them over the hump. I hate to break it to you. Eberflus is better than this clown. Ulbrich for the Jets. That's another complete moron right there. I don't know what half these teams are doing, honestly, but you notice that all these terrible coaches are at the bottom of the league. Who would have thought that you have a bad coach and you might end up at the bottom of the league?
I saw a report. Like I was just scrolling the Twitter trending section. It's like, hey, I wonder if there's anything that I missed. And like people are furious with Todd Bowles because they lost to the Cowboys. Like he should be fired. Like I don't think Todd Bowles is a bad coach, but he is very much in that middle of like he's not an absolute disaster.
For me, Todd Bowles is an elite defensive coordinator and a below average coach. And it's the same way I view DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans, people were like filleting him basically last year for the Houston Texans. I'm like, this guy is they're in horrible positions nonstop, and CJ Stroud is just bailing them out over and over. And look what happens a year later when they're in the same type of position. They can't. I mean, that OC there, Bobby Slowick, the guy that came from Pro Football Focus,
Hey,
send that guy
Slowick.
out to pasture. He
I
stinks.
agree. Get Slowick.
Yes.
Like, yeah, this guy reeks. I'm with you, Pizzola. And everyone's like, oh, Stroud sucks. You can't play quarterback without an offensive line or a plan. It's not all on Stroud. Their plan stinks.
Do you
Don't
want to
agree?
convert 3rd and 10 on every single drive?
Exactly.
Which quarterbacks are going to do that? Because that's what the Texans have to do all the time.
You're right.
And as you pointed out, we talked about this coming into the year, is that is exactly what they did last year.
And people thought this was just going to change coming out of the bye week, too. It's like, oh, they had the bye week. It's like, no, this is how they run their offense. They're going to run the ball heavily on 1st and 2nd down. They don't have an effective running game. And it's now on Stroud to bail him out. And guess what? Stephon Diggs on IR, Tank Dell on IR, John Mechie missed last week. Deontay Johnson, they've grabbed him off waiver wire, but who knows if the guy's even going to show up to practice. He doesn't show up to practices for any team, and they keep trading him and cutting him. It's like he doesn't want to play football anymore. So who knows with that? Like, they just don't have the receivers at this point.
Cam, I'm going to run some games by you. I want you to give me a quick take, because I'm between a bunch here. Ones that I kind of like, but I don't have like a solid bronze right now.
Let's do it.
Cincinnati or Denver?
Fuck, what a game.
I like Denver.
I lead Denver. I actually had Cincinnati. Now I'll lead Denver. Next.
Okay. Do you like the Bucks
Arizona.
or the Panthers?
Panthers. You know me. I'm a sucker for the Panthers.
So
that's just me.
Rob, here's where I'm at with this Tampa Panthers game. Maybe I'm wish casting and thinking too much into it. But everyone jumped off everyone was on the Panthers as favorites. They lost. And then everyone got off the Panthers against Arizona last week, and then they covered and won outright. Well, you're on them every week. That doesn't count. And now this week, everyone's back in like, oh, they just beat Arizona. Of how big of a steal is 8 points? This almost feels like Tampa Bay needs to lay the wood here. Like this is their season.
It is their season, but I think it's too many points.
I agree.
I think it's kind of being priced as it is their season.
It's not moving though. But everyone likes the Panthers.
We'll see at one like later on in the week where we're going to go here. But I mean,
the Panthers should have beat the other time they played Pinheiro. That jackass missed 2 field goals.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
They didn't give Thielen a touchdown. It was fucking bullshit. The Panthers should have won that game outright.
The Bucks ran for like 230 yards in that game and still almost lost. Like that's the path to success here is the Panthers can't stop the run. The Bucks ran all over them. I think that was at the beginning of December. It was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yep.
And the Panthers were pretty much wire to wire winning that game, even though they couldn't stop the run. I think the Panthers offense is pretty underrated at this moment in time. That game against Dallas, Parsons just destroyed that left tackle, Ike Ekwonu, over and over and over, and they had no answer for that. The Bucks don't have that type of player. And I think as long as Carolina plays a team that doesn't have that elite pass rusher, it's the same as Arizona last week, they're going to move the ball. I played over in this game already, but I like the points with Carolina.
It does scream over if there's anything here. But I just don't get how the Panthers can consistently give up like 300 yards rushing and stay within these games and win some of them.
It's because their offense is, at the beginning of the year, the Panthers' defense has not changed this year. It has sucked throughout the year, but at the beginning of the year, they couldn't move the ball, period. And they would get blown out in games, and now they actually have a semblance of an offense. And to me, that's the difference maker for them. I think this game should be a flat 7. It's Tampa 7.
I'm
so
with
anything
you,
above
Pizzola.
there, yeah.
I'm with you.
You know, I'll just
Tennessee, Jacksonville, gun to your head.
I know.
What do you do?
I like
pull the
Tennessee.
trigger
I like Tennessee.
at that point.
Oh God, you gotta be kidding me!
How could you like Jacksonville? You know I've been Mr. Anti.
I don't like Jacksonville at all. I hate Tennessee. They've ruined my life. What do you want me to do? Ooh, I love Tennessee this week. Those assholes have cost me so much money. If they didn't exist in the league, Pat, I'd be rich. I hate that fucking team. Fuck you, Tennessee.
Now what? I think 2 and 13 against the spread.
Yeah,
now, Tennessee.
and Rob, how many weeks have I had them? Maybe like 9 or 10.
Okay, this is the one that stuck out to me the most. I do like the Lions, but you're on San Francisco. I've already gone against you once. I won't do it twice. Feel like this Vikings team is not being favored by enough. Like 1.5 seems kind of disrespectful.
Bullshit. Green
Bay on a short
long.
week, and then they're going to Minnesota, and Minnesota's been the better team all year?
Tell me, Rob.
Well, It's funny because when you guys are opposed to each other, I'm not trying to be like the guy that doesn't want to take a side.
You're
You know that I will.
you're the arbiter. You make the call.
Yeah, do it.
I think
Pick
this is
a
what the
side.
line has to be.
It's
This
not-
is where the line has to be. It's like they're pretty much equal teams, and Minnesota's got home field advantage. It can't be 3. It can't be Green Bay favored. It's got to hang around as Minnesota in this type of range. And I think that's the right price. Like it's very hard for me to find a valuable position.
Who are you
on this
betting
game.
on, Rob?
In this game, I will almost assuredly
Take
not
Green
have
Bay.
a bet. I would almost assuredly not be betting the side in this game.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, Pat.
Okay, if you ask me, if you said, Rob, you got to pick a side in this game.
You're in the basement. I'm gonna gun to your head and say, make a pick. What are you gonna do?
What's going
I'm
on?
picking Minnesota.
What's
I'm
going on
picking
at
the
the
Vikings.
Stewart household at Christmas time? You got guns
Yeah,
everywhere in
geez.
the basement.
If you're tied up in the basement in the dark and
Pat, I got a lot of problems. Not gonna lie to you, but we're not gonna get into it. I like Green Bay. I think Green Bay is underrated, actually, as a team. I think Minnesota, Seattle could have beat them last week. They should have beat them last week.
sure. But we could say that for lots of games over the course
You're
of the
right.
season with both teams, right?
You're right. You're right.
We're catching Green Bay coming off of not even playing an NFL football team, in my opinion.
So the other one was Cleveland at home plus 6.5
no.
against Tua in the cold.
But it is supposed to warm up in Toronto this week. I want to check the real Cleveland temperature this week because it's going back up to like 6 or 7 Celsius this week.
You're right. It's going to be 11. It's going to be 11 degrees with a low of 7 Celsius. So that's what, like 50, 46, 48 degrees. And it's going to be raining on Sunday.
Yeah, 11 Celsius to Fahrenheit is 52.
So you're going to take Miami because it's a couple degrees warmer?
No, I'm not going to touch it.
If it was
just
like
saying that narrative.
If it was like
Yeah.
minus 10, then I probably wouldn't love Tua.
Yeah. Like people are going to be like Tua in the cold. It's not cold this week. It's just like a fall day, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Dolphins suck just as hard as the Browns, but the problem is his DTR. Guy reeks.
He's not
Am I
good.
right?
He's not good.
Am I right?
Fucking horrible.
he
How
that
did they
guy
not cover
sucks.
against Cincy? They was oh my god, he's a disgrace to the quarterback position.
He does a lot of
Disgrace.
running around in the backfield before throwing
Pat-
the ball.
They gave Cleveland so many chances to cover that game. They couldn't even take it. That it was disgraceful. It was disgraceful. They suck.
My favorite was the first drive of the game where the ball got punched out of Jerome's forehand at like the 1-inch line, and then since he went 99 yards for a touchdown. Right, it's basically a perfect summary of the Browns season in 2 drives. They go down the field, punched out at the 1. DTR though is horrible. I cannot.
He is horrible.
At 7,
He
I'm going to have to have a
sucks.
conversation with myself and maybe like a few rum and eggnogs so that I can make some bad decisions. But
Oh.
at 6.5, no.
Rob, there's no
I'll
rum
give you
and,
more than rum and egg
I was
dogs.
gonna say there's
buddy.
no rum and eggnogs left on planet Earth. Cam has consumed them all.
Yeah, I look pretty bad right
It's
now.
not good for
That's,
diabetes, I'll tell you that. But every now and then I get
You know what
the
it was,
taste.
Rob? I hit the wine, and my lady came over. She goes, do you want to party? I'm like, okay. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, it's like 6 o'clock. I can do a show with Pizzola and Pat. I'm like, oh my God. Problems.
You
But
showed
anyway,
up, though. You showed up.
Here.
yeah,
You'll probably,
I
you know
showed
what?
up poor- I
You'll-
showed up poorly.
You say
Bad
that, you'll
mistake.
probably go 3-0.
You know what? Drunk bets are better bets, I think. But anyway, so who are we betting on? Rob?
I'm gonna take
Caesars?
I'm taking Minnesota minus 1.5 as my bronze pick.
Fuck it, Pat. I can't believe you're taking the Vikings. That really
They're
pisses
they're
me off.
13-2. All they have to do is win.
They were so lucky to beat Seattle. So lucky. So lucky.
I'm going bronze, and I'm taking the Broncos 3.5.
All right, so we all like Denver then.
Do I have a bronze pick yet or no?
Yes, you picked the Chargers.
Oh, thank you, Pat. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. All I know is I want another vodka.
I don't like Denver, but since he's beat up on O-line and D-line, and Denver's healthy, they might get Riley Moss back at corner this week, which would be big for them, obviously, but Orlando Brown's hurt for Cincy. They lost the right tackle, Amarius
Since
Mims.
he's not that good, they let Cleveland hang in that game, right, Rob?
Yeah.
If Denver does anything positive, Cincinnati's done.
I do
Like,
worry
they're not that
that
good.
Burrow can have those games though, where he
Can
just
he?
overcome. He can. He's had many of them but I like getting the hook there. I like the 3.5. I'll take the Broncos.
I just see it as Denver has a lot of ways to cover, and I don't think that their offense is going to be stopped by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then the defense will randomly score 10 points for them because that's what they do.
Yeah, I just
I look awful.
since these defenses coming off of a game against DTR, where I mean that's not a real quarterback, and we forget how bad Cincinnati's defense is
Why
when
did
they play
put
a
him in,
real offense.
Rob? I know Winston sucks, but why are you putting in DTR?
Because you
Guy
tank.
reeks.
Because you tank.
Yeah, I think that's an organization.
This is
that's
how you
smart.
tank.
Yes,
Yeah,
this
you're
is
right,
exactly
you're right.
what you do. You're like, yeah,
You're
we
right.
want to see what we have in our young 25-year-old quarterback that's done nothing.
So why did the Raiders win then against Jacksonville?
Because they're a stupid organization, and the
Fair
Browns
enough.
are a smart organization.
I wouldn't say smart.
They
but-
are. They're more savvy. Let's put it that way. Like they're more savvy in terms of playing the long game. They don't have an owner who's like, win at all costs when you're going to cost yourself the first overall pick in the draft, right? Like
Davis
that's-
was dancing with those guys in the locker room.
I know. He's got a sickness, dude. You got a sick. They should have lost by 38, and he should have went and popped champagne bottles and got everyone fucking hookers for the weekend.
Sure. But you know what? They don't give a shit about their draft pick. Apparently, they don't give a fucking rat's ass. They don't care.
Just
Right?
the Raiders going to be the Raiders for many, many more years.
How do you feel about your Cowboys in this game against probably Jalen Hurts?
Cowboys are hot. That's my grill.
Forehead is looking a little hot there, Cam.
Oh, I know,
It's,
man.
a little red.
It's very Pizzola. I don't even know what's going on here. But yeah, Cowboys. I had them against Tampa Bay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. How do I feel about them?
Third, Rob.
No, it's okay. I mean, I wish these guys would just lose games too. Like, I didn't really
What are they doing? What's their point? What is their end game?
Listen, I'm not quite to the level of Jeff as a Chargers fan. There's not many people who are to the level of Jeff as Chargers fans, right? But I sit in bed every night. I do like 5 or 6 mock drafts for the Cowboys on like the Pro Football Focus simulator. And I just like watch the draft pick go down. I'm like, man, these players that are available to me at 10 are a lot better than are available at 14. It gets me I get upset when that happens. I mean, I'm a fan. I want to see them do well, but the season's over. Like, just draft at the highest.
You got to
position
remember,
possible.
Rob. Players are playing for themselves.
They are.
Other guys, yeah. You're like, oh, teams are going to tank. Are they? No, they're not. They're actually playing for themselves, right?
It's true. That was established 20 minutes ago.
Teaser, Cam, before we get out of here. We each get to...
Sorry, Pat. I apologize. I don't even know what time it was. Things got a little bit
No,
crazy.
but you're on time. You got here on
You
time.
got, yeah.
It's not like we waited.
Yeah, we sat here. We said, here's the scheduled time. Even when you don't know the time, Cam, you are on time.
Not proud of myself, though, tonight. I'm very disappointed.
Listen, you're going to go...
Teaser?
You're going to go
It's
3-0.
It's also the morning. It's not the night anymore either.
I thought it was literally 9 o'clock at night, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Fuck, I made a mistake. But then again, I got off with Gabe at 1 o'clock. Oh, okay.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, it's
No,
gonna be
no,
all of a few
you haven't-
drinks.
no.
It'll be an early
Well,
night.
I watched the President's
haven't-
Cup content, and certainly Pat's been there. I can say Pat
Right
has.
there. You guys got children. I'm a disgrace. Anyway, give me what's a team we could take with points, Pizzola? What do you think?
Well, Rob gets
for
his
teasers?
pick.
Raiders?
The Raiders are probably a good leg. Do 7.5?
Yeah, Raiders are fine. 7.5. We could do that.
Sold.
I'll do the Colts.
Ooh, yeah, horseshoe.
Indy down to 2, and I will take the... Funny, I want to take the Broncos up to 9, but I also don't want to take the Broncos up to 9 because Cincinnati's a weird team like that. Where,
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, they scored 58 points. Oh, great. I will go... You know what? I'm going to hinge on. I'm going to take Tampa Bay down to 2.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I like Carolina spread, but Tampa's pretty
Tampa Bay's
likely
going to
to
win the game.
You get good numbers there. You go through 7, you go through 3. That's what it's all about.
Rob has actually become a computer now.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Pat, I like when you rip his master class. It makes me laugh.
I'm truly the gigabyte at this point.
I was gonna say I am not the only one who is ripping Rob's masterclass.
There are so many. Although I've heard it's doing really well.
That's great.
I don't have the
I'm
full
going to be
analysis.
honest with you. I like your master class. Like you're a smart guy, but when Mayo ripped you, I was like, bam,
Oh,
he got you.
I can roll with the punches. I always have been able to. I don't like people who just rip me for the if it's playful ribbing, I get it. The people who are like, there's going to be no value in watching this class, like, get a life. Those are the people that I don't really, I can't.
And I will defend Rob Pizzola as a guy that's never got a cent from him, nor a freezer of meat, because Pat gives me that. Rob knows what he's doing. He's a great mathematician. So shut the fuck up and listen.
Also, I will say, because you've slandered Pat's name, he did send me a couple bottles of wine for the holidays as well.
Oh, yeah,
and I
you're
did
ripping my
appreciate it.
Malbecs like I'm some kind of like stooge that lives in a ditch.
No, I just said to you, again, you've taken this out of context. I prefer like Cab Savs. That's
but I drink Cab
flavor
Savs
profile.
too. Anything
know.
under 5 grams of sugar. Fair enough. I'm
not-
just saying, like, just don't knock my shit, man. 'Cause it's
I-
real.
again, let's take a step back. Beep, beep, step
Beep.
back. All right. Beep, beep. I didn't mock your wines. I personally don't drink Malbecs. The flavor profile for me, it's okay. I will if I have to, or if someone serves me a glass of wine, I'm not going to like throw it in the sink or spit it in their face. But if I'm going to buy my own wine,
I get it.
That's all I'm getting at.
I get it.
That's it. It's not my
You know
preference.
what Malbecs are, Pat?
What?
It's like a left hook to the face. It's a little bit stronger than the average one.
Is
you know
it?
what? I love it. Love it. That's what it is.
Were you having Malbec
It's-
last night or like 10 minutes ago?
I drank, I don't even want to tell you. I think I drank 4 bottles of wine last night.
It's a lot of bottles of wine.
I have
Why,
been
why
with
do I
Ken
admit
drinking
this?
before.
Why do I admit this stuff on the show? Anyway, I finished my show with Gabe. I was going to go to bed. My girlfriend says, hey, let's watch up MTV Classic. We saw some great videos. And next thing you know, I go, oh, shit, it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I got to do a show with Pat and Rob. I fucked up large. But you know what? That's what it is.
Did you get to see that episode of MTV Cribs with Sean Avery where Alicia Cuthbert's just like chilling on his couch when they go through it?
That was Dion Phaneuf got Sean Avery sloppy seconds. I don't know if you guys recall Sean Avery saying that back in the day.
Well, we were.
Pat, I know a chick from my local bar that used to bang. Who's that guy that went to Mississippi?
Well, that narrows it down.
CFL running back. Anyway, I'll figure it out next week. But yeah, she gave it to him hard.
Sweet.
Yep,
How hard?
very hard.
Oh.
Like, like it was like, yeah. Was it his last name was Avery too? Yeah. Rob, you know what I'm talking about.
Was there a Trey Avery? Am I thinking of something else?
I'll figure it out. Just
right
don't
now,
ask me questions
Kylan
today.
Hill is on the Calgary Stampeders. He went to Mississippi.
Any guy from Mississippi or Mississippi State, they love to party.
John Avery?
Yeah, John Avery. How'd you know, Pizzola?
Listen,
Man, you're
I'm
sharp.
very skilled with the computer in real time. I will. You don't call me the gigabyte for nothing.
Anyway, a chick at the bar banged him for a while. But anyway, she's a really nice gal.
All right.
Good for her.
You know, Cam, if you go 3-0 this week, you got to get smashed for every single episode.
I don't want to do that though. I need to. I fucked up.
You believe in like some of these trends and these streaks and these themes. Maybe this is the drunk theme.
Things are going really well, and then I'm like, oh no, because I forgot. That's why I texted you guys. Like, I don't want to do a show on Tuesday because I knew things were going to get stupid today. Right, Rob?
You did.
I did.
Well-
Anyway, Pat, we'll talk in the future.
I hope so.
I made a lot of mistakes.
Same
but
ti-
anyway, I love you guys.
Same time.
Merry Christmas.
Same time next week, right?
Let's talk about it
Well,
before we do it.
Well, we're not done the show yet, so we'll wait till we're done the show to talk about it.
Sorry. I apologize.
Code Mayo.
Teasers.
We already did the teasers. I just have to get out of here.
Teasers are good.
I just have to go home.
We did the teaser. You're in for your teaser.
Do you remember who you took?
Okay. I think I took. No, I don't remember.
The Raiders.
Raiders. Yeah. Yar.
I hope
Sorry, Pat.
I hope everyone out there has a very Merry Christmas. To you, Cam, to you, Rob, to you, great viewers out there. Code Mayo at Underdog and FantasyGolfChampionships.com to get in those giveaways as well. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.